everyone. Very good evening to you. So in last classes, I have posted some videos, some video links for you. I hope you people have watched the videos and enjoyed the videos. Now we are going to see the summary of the lesson, Living Organisms and Their Surroundings. In this chapter, we are going to cover variety of organisms, what is habitat, biotic and abiotic components of a habitat, terrestrial habitats. In that terrestrial habitats, forest, grassland and desert animals, aquatic habitat, oceans, ponds and lakes, living things around us, that is food, growth, respiration, response to stimulus, reproduction and movement. These are the topics we are going to cover in this lesson. Living organisms. In the first link, I have sent you some animals photos and you people have noted down the names and you have sent it back to me. I hope you remember that video. Okay. Now we are going to see the living organisms. So in the world, there are so many living organisms are there. It represents not only human beings, some lower organisms, that is plants, animals, and even some microorganisms. The organisms which cannot see with our naked eye also are there. So in this picture, you can see human beings, plants, insects, animals, forest, trees and all, and then some germs also. So there are so many organisms are there in the nature. Okay. Living things in different surroundings. See, all living things are living in different surroundings. For example, in our home itself, other than ourselves, beside us, lizards, mosquitoes, ants, spiders are also there. So not only human beings are living in home, other than that, some other creatures are also living with us. If we go for some external surroundings, that is other than our home, if you take forest, we can see so many different animals, even from small animals to huge animals. For example, deer, fox, tiger, elephant, lynx, woodpecker, orangutan, howler monkey. So what is the similarity of these animals? These animals are all wild animals, that's it. But if you see the size of the animals, it will be vary, even small to huge size. So many different organisms are living in the nature. If we go for desert, we can see some desert animals and plants too. So these animals can able to adapt in their climatic condition. So the animals which live in the desert regions are called desert animals, and the plants which are living in the desert regions are called desert plants. The another habitat is polar habitats. Polar meaning the region which is present in the north and south pole of our globe. If you have seen the globe, you may notice that Arctic region and Antarctic region, that is not, it is present in the north and south pole. So there and all the climate is somewhat different. It is very cool in nature. So the animals which are living in those pole regions are called polar habitats. For example, penguin, seal, polar bear and etc. So first of all, we should know what is habitat. We have seen forest habitat, polar habitats and all. We should know what is habitat. Natural home or environment where an organism lives. We can simply say the place where the organism lives. For example, for us, our home is our habitat. Like that, each animals are having their own environment, that is own place to live, that is called habitat. Habitat for animals, habitat for plants. There are different habitat for animals and plants. How different organisms live in such different environments? That is the first question. The answer for this is adaptation. We know that different organisms are living in their own habitat, that is own place, own home. So how they are living in that such environment? That is called adaptation. Features and habits of organisms to better to suit an environment. For example, polar bear and camel. So polar bear lives only in the polar region, that is in the high cold temperature. If we take camel, it lives in the desert region. So what is the difference between these? Whether the camel can able to adapt in this polar region? No. Likewise, whether the polar bear can able to live in this desert region? No. Because their body features and their habitat of the organism is adapted to that particular region. If you take polar bear, it is covered with a thick fur and lot of fat will also be accumulated in the body. The fur which acts as an insulator, that is heat sensitive behaviors. That is, in winter season and all, we use it to wear winter jacket. Like that, polar bear is using their fur as their jacket to prevent the cold condition. If we take camel, camel is able to live only in desert region. It can't able to live in the polar region because the body features, that is, it is having long limbs and thick eyelashes and hump and also having thick nostrils to get rid of the windstorm. So this is called adaptation, that is the features and the habitats of organism to better to suit an environment. Habitat is the place where the animal lives, but adaptation is the place where the animals can able to live in the particular habitat. I hope you understand. Components in a habitat. There are basically two components. One is biotic components and another one is abiotic components. The term bio represents life. So it is otherwise called as living components. Biotic components are otherwise called living components. Abiotic components are called as non-living components. Generally, both living and non-living things are depend on each other. So both biotic and abiotic components exist in any habitat. For the life of the habitat, both biotic and abiotic components are needed. So here some of the living and non-living things, that is biotic and abiotic components, were given. So you people studied in their lower class itself, plants, animals, bacteria, fungus, protists are the living things. If we go for non-living things, soil, water, air, minerals and light are the natural non-living things which are found in our nature. So both of all living things depend on their life for the non-living things. Without air, water and soil, we cannot survive. Even plants also to produce their food with the help of these non-living things only. So for the living of the habitat, both biotic and abiotic components plays a major role. The next very important term is acclimatization. What is acclimatization? Small changes that take place in an organism over short periods to adjust to changes in the surroundings. That is, for example, climbing the mountain. So what does acclimatization means? Very short, small changes taken in our lifetime is called acclimatization. For example, while climbing the mountain is somewhat high altitude. That is, if the height increases, the oxygen required for our body will be decreased. Okay. So imagine yourself, you people are climbing the mountain. While you are going higher and higher, if you reach the peak, the oxygen content present in that atmosphere is somewhat reduced, is very lower amount. So at that time what happens? We use it to breathe fast to get more oxygen to enter into our body, because our body cells need oxygen. Okay. After that, if you are staying there in that period for 2 to 3 days, what happens? Your body start to adapt in that temperature and normal breathing takes place. That is because of this acclimatization. That is very small change. While first day itself, if you are climbing, you need more oxygen, so you will breathe very fast. After 2 or 3 days, if you are staying in the same place, the oxygen required for our body will be somewhat neutral. That is, you should not need to breathe very fast. That is because the red blood cells will start to produce more in that condition. So very small changes taken place for a very short period of time, and that condition is called acclimatization. See, only half of the summary only we have seen now. The remaining half of the lesson I will continue in the next class. Thank you.